Hello, students. I hope you will be fine at your home. And welcome to you all. And good afternoon to my dear students. And in this lecture, basically, we are going to study the transducer. So, we have already started the unit number 2, that is the transducer. The topic is transducer. But we are going to do what? We are basically study the measuring instruments. Measuring means they comes in the transducer category, but we are using for the measuring purpose. Means one form to the another form. As I earlier told you, the transducer is a equipment component element, we can say, which is basically used for the conversion of one form to the another. And as we all know that we are studying this subject in basically electrical engineering branch. So we already basically always go for the electrical terms. Okay, so we convert mechanical into electrical, acoustic into electrical, thermal into electrical, temperature into electrical, pressure into electrical, chemical into electrical. So many parts we have. Okay, so in my previous lecture basically I told you about the manometer. Okay, and the Bourdon tube. So before this, we talk about the strain gauge. Okay, then we having the basically system that is LVDT, RVDT. So these are basically transducers, but they basically work on the conversion. Conversion means they have the basic principle. Basic principle means transducer having the basic principle, which is basically converting from one form of energy to the another form. So if I want a transducer, so I can convert one form to the another form very easily with the help of this type of transducer. Okay, so I hope you understand. Now, as I earlier told you, this part comes in the power system instrumentation, and three things are there: power system instrumentation. So the very important subject is power system in electrical engineering. Basically deals with the all part of power system: the generation, the transmission, the distribution, the we can say the engineering what we have, the analysis what we have, the maze instrumentation part we have, the switch gear what we have. So all these comprise in a power system. So power system individual not very small subject. It is a very large subject. This is very a huge subject. Why it is very huge subject? Because it consists almost so many parts. As I earlier told you, generation, then transmission distribution, then we having engineering, then we having analysis, then we having protection. Okay, then we having this instrumentation. So many parts of it. So one part is this instrumentation, and instrumentation is very necessary because 220 kilovolt we having, corresponding to that we having the 5 kiloampere current, we can say. If it is closed, if it is open, no current will flow. If it is closed circuit, we having 5 kiloampere current. So my dear student, 5 kiloampere current, it is not feasible for us to measure it with a simple ammeter. So what we have to do? We have to step down the level of that current. So we need instrument transformers. We use instrument transformers. So I hope you understand what I want to say. Now this is the transducer. Again, a topic is there, but in this uh, lecture, basically I will tell you, or we are going to study, that is the basically how can we measure the things with the help of the instrument. So we are going to study this thing. Okay, now moving forward, the objectives. Although we are starting the unit basically unit number 2 and my lecture, so there will be some objective of me and you also, because you are going to study, you are going to understand, you are going to basically see how the transducer works, basically how many transducer we have and how they works, what are the working principle of that, what are the operation we have. So my first objective is to help the learner, means you, to understand the basics of instruments used for measurement of magnetic field. So how can we measure the magnetic field? So some basics are involved in it. The basics are involved in, which we have already studied in the electronic basically the EDC electronic device circuits we have, or analog electrons we have, that is Hall effect. So we are going to study the basic first. Before this basic, first we are going to study the transducer. What are the transducer? How can we categorize these things? That is the basic. Okay. Then we having the understand the working and principle of operation of thermocouple. Now thermocouple we are going to study, and we are going to study the measurement of magnetic field, which type of instrument we can use for this type of measurement. So my dear student, in this basically the presentation of me, means the lecture presentation of mine, we are going to study these things. Help the learner to understand the basics of instrument used for the measurement of magnetic field. Okay, now moving forward is first transducer. So as I earlier told you, what do you mean by transducer? So transducer is what, my dear student? Transducer is a device that converts one form of energy to the another. As I earlier told you, transformer is what? Or transducer is what? Sorry, transducer. Transducer is a device that basically used to convert one form of energy to the another form. Energy types include what? As I earlier told you, they are not limited. They may be they may be in different form. That is why we can convert into the electric form very easily. First is the electrical, second is the mechanical, third is the electromagnetic, fourth is the chemical, then will be the acoustic, then thermal energy, and so many are not limited to the line written here. Usually, a transducer convert a signal in one form of energy to the a signal in another. Basically, in another form, we can convert into the another form energy. Okay, so we can easily convert. Usually, a transducer convert signal into the form of one form of energy to the another. Means mechanical to electrical. So, as in my previous lecture, I already told you, my dear student, a thermometer is a better example of it. In thermometer, we having what nowadays in this pandemic we are using the digital thermometer. But before this, we use what? A simple basic thermometer. In that thermometer, we having the scale, and we having the metal filled in it, that is mercury. As per the temperature, what happens? That mercury expand and basically expand on the scale, and when it stops, you can easily identify the what is temperature reading. Maybe 102, 100 degree centigrade or Fahrenheit, whatever in which you want to measure. So temperature you are want to measure, but with the help of displacement. So two things are here. Basically, you are measuring the displacement. Measuring displacement is basically the displacement take place on a thermometer of that mercury. But what you are going to measure? You are going to measure temperature. So two things are there, my dear student. So that is the basic or suitable example for transducer. Okay, piezoelectric crystals are available in the market. Directly you can apply force on it. If you are applying force on it, what will happen? That will convert into electrical energy. LVDT we have already studied. Displacement are there, so we can easily measure the linear displacement. Strain gauges, strain we can also measure very easily. Okay. Then we have the pressure measurement. We have the pressure measurement also. Modern tube, manometer. We have already discussed these instruments or these type of transducer we have already studied. So we can convert it to the another form. Now, classification of transducer on the basis of transaction, as I earlier told you, primary and secondary. Primary need no source, but secondary need external source. Passive, do by the help of another. Active, directly converting. Analog and digital, analog discrete in discrete form. Digital, binary, 0 and 1. Okay. Transducer means converting mechanical, acoustic, chemical, thermal, pressure, temperature, whatever, not limited to, into the electrical. And inverse of it, convert that electrical transducer, give electrical and convert into another form. That is piezoelectric crystal. If we apply electrical supply on it, If we give electrical supply on it, if we give electrical supply to that one, it changes dimension. So displacement is there. But what we are giving, we are giving electric. So I hope you understand. Now, basic of magnetic field measurement. So comes from what is Hall effect. That is the basic thing. Now the Hall effect is the production of a voltage difference that is known as Hall voltage across a current carrying conductor in presence of magnetic field. Okay. So current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field. What will happen? What will happen, my dear student? A force take place. That is electromagnetic force. And due to that force, what will happen? We having some torque on it. Okay. Now the perpendicular to both current and magnetic field. It is perpendicular to both current and magnetic field. See here, we are applying the voltage, that is Hall voltage. Now we having this charges, that is electrical force from charge buildup. This is the displacement we have, or we can say direction of the conventional electric current is like this, in this manner. We having this thing, and that is the magnetic field. That is what the direction is, magnetic field. And due to this electrical field and magnetic field perpendicular of it, we having the magnetic force. We having what? Magnetic force. And due to this, we having the voltage potential difference. A voltage difference we can say, and potential difference we have. Due to that voltage difference or potential difference is known as Hall voltage. What is it? Hall voltage. That is the Hall effect. That is what, my dear student? That is Hall effect. I hope you understand. Okay, see here again, having the charges means current is there. If charge is flowing, the rate of flow of charge is known as, my dear student, current. So current is flowing here. If current is there in a magnetic field that is perpendicular, then perpendicular to that one, we having what? Magnetic force and negative charge. Okay, perpendicular to both current and magnetic field. Okay, then we having the force applied on it, that is the width we can say, and displacement we can say, and we having the Hall voltage occurs here, potential difference due to this. So that is what Hall effect. I hope you understand. Now, working, how they work, how the working take place in it. Now, when a current carrying conductor plays into a magnetic field, when a current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, a voltage will be generated perpendicular to both. What will happen? Previously, we know that current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, a force take place on it, force occurs on it. So what will happen if I'm talking about the force? So remain that force, we having the voltage also. That voltage will be generated perpendicular to both the current and field. Magnetic field is there, current is there. Due to this, what will happen? Voltage will be generated perpendicular to both current and voltage. Current and basically current and voltage perpendicular, then field and voltage also perpendicular. So we can say the voltage generated will be perpendicular to both, that is current or field, that is magnetic field. We always represent magnetic field with B, or that is basically the magnetic field density. What is it? Magnetic field density, and it basically gives an expression that is flux per area, Weber per meter square. Area means length into breadth. Okay. Now, when a perpendicular magnetic field is present, if perpendicular magnetic is present, a Lorentz force is exerted on the electron. Which force? Lorentz force. That is force exerted on the electron, due to which electron moves in perpendicular direction. Due to which what happens? If perpendicular force applying on it, exerted on it, on what? On which? Electron. Due to which electron moves in perpendicular direction to both current and magnetic field. Both current and magnetic field perpendicular, and develop a potential difference. It develops what? A potential difference across the conductor or semiconductor. Conductor means resistance tends to zero, and semiconductor resistance lies between zero to infinity. Okay. Now see here, voltage measurement measured by Gauss meter or other instrument we having, and magnetic field that is here, and the force exerted. So what happened basically? current conductor we having, that is a current conductor plays in a magnetic field. Now these are B, and the current conductor is like here I. It is shown by the blue line. Black arrow shows you the B, that is magnetic field, and the dot plus and that is minus shows you the charges. Electrons we have. Charges are the holes, but the holes are the vacant position made by the electrons basically when they move out. Okay, so we having this thing. Now force is again perpendicular. Basically B is perpendicular and I is perpendicular, current is perpendicular we have. Due to this the Lorentz force take place, and that Lorentz force is basically perpendicular. That perpendicular Lorentz force basically pushes or apply force on the electrons to move. So due to this what happened, the potential difference take place, and that potential difference is known as the what? Hall voltage. That is what? Hall voltage. Okay. Now I hope you understand with this diagram also, and we can measure in the Gauss meter or other instrument, that is voltmeter we can say, galvanometer we can say. So I hope you understand. Now moving forward, applications where we can use it and where we are use as a magnetometers. Now I told you in my lecture, the first part is what we can measure or we can use it for the measuring of magnetic field. We can use it for the measurement of what, my dear student? Magnetic field. So magnetic field we can measure with the help of what? This application, we can say the Hall effect. The Hall effect we are using, that is we can use in magnetometers. That is to measure the magnetic field. Okay. Hall effect sensor is used as a current sensor. So Hall effect you all know. Hall effect is what? Basically voltage difference. And voltage difference take place why? I'm summarize this thing in a very simple manner. We having a current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field. What will happen? Current is carrying, magnetic field is there. So due to this, what happened? Lorentz force take place. And if Lorentz force take place, though the Lorentz force is basically what? Lorentz force is perpendicular to B and I, and that basically pushes or apply force on the electrons to move from one position to another positions. So basically charges are moving. Okay, now charges are moving. It means what? The rate of flow of charge is known as current. So current is there, positive holes are there, ions, negative ion, electrons are there, they are moving. So if they are moving, so there will be some difference of potential. Due to that we having the voltage, that is what? Hall voltage. So we can use for the measurement of magnetic field, we use this Hall effect or Hall effect sensor is there. For current sensor also uses magnetic position sensing in brushless DC electric motors. Brushless DC electrical, BLDC. Nowadays we are using BLDC motor, we are using in e-rickshaws. You know, electric rickshaws we have, and we can also use in electrical vehicle. Nowadays we are using in an electrical vehicle. Okay, Tata Nexon also gives an electrical vehicle. Hyundai is also there, that is Kona. Electrical vehicles available in the market. We can charge the battery and we can run run that car, drive that car without basically filling the fuel, that is diesel or petrol. We only run basically drive that car with the help of battery, with the help of motor. That charge battery run the motor, that is also BLDC. So we can use BLDC electric motor. So the magnetic position sensing, we are use what? Magnetic position sensing in BLDC or brushless DC electric motor. We use this Hall effect. Okay. Now automotive fuel level indicator. In autometer and basically the automobiles, we have the fuel level indicator. That fuel level indicator is basically we use what? This Hall effect. We use what, my dear student? We use this Hall effect. Okay. Now the spacecraft propulsion. The spacecraft propulsion, if you want to know, then we can apply this Hall effect. So the Hall effect application is in the spacecraft propulsion also. I hope you understand. So magnetometers for the measure magnetic field, we use what? Hall effect. So Hall effect is the basic principle of magnetometer, and we use Hall effect to measure the magnetic field. We apply basically the Hall effect to measure the magnetic field. Is also used as a current sensor, magnetic position sensing in brushless DC electric motor, fuel level indicator in all automobiles, spacecraft propulsion. We can use the Hall effect in these type of applications. Okay, I hope you understand about the Hall effect. Now moving forward, thermocouple. Now what is thermocouple and on the principle, on which principle it works? Okay, now thermocouples operate under the principle that a circuit made by connecting two dissimilar metals produce a measurable voltage EMF or electromotive force, you can say, when a temperature gradient is imposed between one and the other. Two dissimilar metals, we can use it. If we apply a temperature on it, then what we can say, basically they produce a measurable voltage, a EMF is there. But due to the temperature, thermocoupling is there. Coupling, why? We having two things, two dissimilar couple. Thermo means temperature is there. Now when a temperature gradient is imposed between one and other end, two ends are there. See, we having A metal and B, they are two dissimilar metals. We can take an example for we having the aluminum and copper, two metals are there. Okay, and we make a coupling of it. We apply temperature on it with the fire, that is T3. So T1 is already there. We do this. With this we having the T2. So the temperature differences, we are getting the voltage induced between these two. So that is thermocouple. Thermocouple. Thermal couple we can also say. Thermo we always use for the temperature. Means heat. Temperature we are giving. We are applying the temperature on it. So due to the temperature, coupling of the two dissimilar metals convert basically gives what? Gives what? Gives you the, what, my dear student? Gives you the voltage, gives you the EMF, gives you the electromotive force. But what we have to do? We have to apply the temperature. Okay. So here in the diagram, it is very easy or easy to understand. Temperature we are giving, that is T3. T1 is rises of this temperature and T2 of this metal. So due to this, what happened? The V1 introduced, or V1 induced, or V1 basically generated. Production of V1 we have. Okay. So they are inexpensive, small, very small. Inexpensive means very cheaper. Small is there. Rugged we can use in very much positions, and accurate when used with an understanding of their peculiarities where we can use it. Okay, so I hope you understand. Two things are there, two dissimilar metals. We are making couple of it. We are connecting them, applying temperature on it. Due to this, what will happen? They induce, they basically generate with their difference, that is electromotive force, that is voltage. It is shown by this diagram. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, thermocouple principle of operation. So just read it, my dear student. In 1821, ancient time, almost we can say almost 200 years ago, T.J. Seebeck, you can say that T.J. Seebeck was the physicist, observed the existence of an electromotive force, that is EMF. Electromotive force, that is electromotive force, we can say, or in my view, I always called as a electron motion force. Electron, we are pushing the electrons. Okay, so electromotive force, that is EMF, at the junction formed between two dissimilar metals, that is known as Seebeck. That is what? So in 1821 is the history. Basically, it is the history. The principle of operation is what? Seebeck. Seebeck effect. And this Seebeck effect basically given by the T.J. Seebeck, is basically invented by the T.J. Seebeck in 1821 or 200 years ago. Observed that, what they observed basically, what they give state that basically the explanation of this, how they take place, the existence of an electromotive force, the existence of an electromotive force, EMF we can say, at the junction formed between two dissimilar metals. This type of metals, two dissimilar metals, maybe an copper, aluminum, whatever, iron, steel, whatever. That is known as Seebeck. Now, Seebeck effect is actually the combined result of two other phenomena. Two phenomena already we have, but the Seebeck effect is actually the combination or combined result of two other phenomena. We have Thomson and Peltier effect. What we have? Thomson and Peltier effect. So Seebeck is there, but Seebeck is basically give result combine the two physicists results. One is the Thomson, another one is the Peltier, and they having the known as effect, their effects. So Thomson and Peltier. Now, what is Thomson effect, my dear student? Now Thomson observed the existence of an EMF, that is electromotive force, due to the contact of two dissimilar matters at the junction temperature. At the what? Junction temperature. So Thomson observed and invented that the existence of an EMF, there is an existence of EMF due to the contact of two dissimilar metals. Contact of two dissimilar metals. We having aluminum, having the copper. If they are contacting at junction temperature, means if junction is there, we are applying temperature on it. Due to this, what will happen? We are going to have, we are having the voltage, the EMF. Okay, so that is already given by the Thomson or observed by the Thomson, invented by the physicist Thomson. Okay, so Thomson basically gave this thing. Now Peltier discovered that the temperature gradient along conducted in a circuit generate an EMF. Now Peltier discovered what? Peltier also discovered that temperature gradients allow conductors in a circuit. If we having the temperature gradients, some gradients will be there. Whatever we can say, we are applying this much temperature in Fahrenheit or degree centigrade we have. Along the conductors we have in a circuit generated EMF. Temperature gradient we have along with the conductors in a circuit, closed circuit, it also induces an EMF. Okay, so Thomson effect is normally much smaller. Thomson gave you two dissimilar metals, but Peltier gave you the bigger effect. What? If we have the conductors along with the temperature gradient, it induces an EMF in a circuit. So Seebeck combined these two and gives their effect in 1821. Okay, so the thermocouple principle of operation is what? TJ Seebeck. So I hope you understand about the TJ Seebeck effect. Now moving forward, working. How it works, basically give. It is generally reasonable to assume that EMF is generated in the wires. It is generally reasonable to assume, we are assuming this thing, that EMF is generated in the wires, not in the junction. If I am connecting not in a junction, it comes in the wires. The signal is generated when dt by dx is not zero. Temperature by the variable we have, dt by dx is not zero. Okay. When the materials are homogeneous, epsilon is there. The thermoelectric power is a function of, we can say E, we are using small. The thermoelectric power is a function of temperature only. When materials are what? Homogeneous. If metals are homogeneous, then E is the thermoelectric power, is a function of temperature only. Is a function of what, my dear student? Temperature only. So we have what? Two wires begin and end at the same two temperatures. Two wires begin and end at the same two temperatures. So first equation we have E is equals to 0 to L. Inductance we have EA dt by dx into dx plus L to 0 E B, E A and B, two powers we have, two decimal matters we have, E A and EB, dt by dx. If wires are both homogeneous, if wires are homogeneous, then we having the temperatures we have in this EX dt, EA and EB. If both wires being begin at T reference and T, we basically total we have, then this is E minus EA minus EB, the difference of it. For small temperature differences, we can use the average. That is the average we have in the equation number 4. Okay, I hope you understand this thing. Now, material EMF versus temperature. If I am talking about the, my dear student, material EMF versus temperature. So chromal, we have chromal. In chromal, we having the highest, that is EMF versus temperature. So that is the temperature and that is the EMF. So chromal having higher, then we have the iron, then we have the copper, then we have the alloy, then we have the aluminum, then we have the constant in the negative side. So with reference to characteristic of pure platinum, these in the reference to the characteristic of what? Pure platinum. Pure platinum characteristic we have. This is the material EMF versus temperature. So chromal having the positive very higher, then we having the iron, then we having the what, my dear student, copper, then we having the PTRMO, that is alloy. Now this is the temperature line, that is EMF. Then the negative side we having the aluminum, then we having constant. Okay, so this is the basically the equation of what? That is the equation of working of thermocouple. Then we having the EMF versus temperature. Now thermocouple effect, how they take place, how it take place, and where we can use this time. So anytime a pair of dissimilar wires, anytime, anytime you can choose a pair of dissimilar wires is joined to make a circuit. If two dissimilar wires I am using to make a to join is joined to make a circuit, and a thermal gradient is imposed, means temperature imposed on it, and EMF voltage will be generated. What will happen? An EMF voltage will be generated. So indeed this, for a gas, electric and arc welding, we are using this thing. For gas, electric and arc welding, this thing. Twisted, solder or welded junctions are acceptable. Welding is the most common. Twisted, twisting is there. Soldered or welded. Three things are there. Twisted, soldered or welded we have in. Okay. So welding is basically the most common. Welding is the most common. If you want to weld, if you want to join something, we weld it. It basically the we can say the best adhesive, not adhesive, is basically the we can say we make a permanent connection, that is welded. So twisted, solder or welded junctions are acceptable in this. Means we can twist it, soldered or welding we can do acceptable. Welding is the most common. Means two dissimilar wires we are using. We make a couple of it. We make a coupling of it with the help of welding. So welding is the most common. We can solder it. We can welded it. We can welding. We are using it. Okay, twist it. Keep weld wear or solder bead diameter within 10 to 5% of wire diameter. So one thing is there. We have to keep in mind. We already know if thermocouple effect is there. So Seebeck effect is there. Two dissimilar metals we are coupling, we are joining. If we are applying temperature on it, if we are applying what? We are applying the temperature on it, my dear student. So due to that temperature, what will happen? The EMF will generate it between that points. So that is the thermocouple effect also, or the Seebeck effect, and Peltier and Thomson effect. So Thomson gave you this thing, but Peltier gives you this thing. If you have the temperature gradient and wires or conductor along with in a circuit, it gives an EMF, it induces an EMF. Okay, so twisted or welded we can do. Now second thing, keep weld beard or solder pad. You have to weld bed, maintain, keep with us, and solder bed diameter within 10 to 15% of wire meter, not more than it. If we having, for example, 40 centimeter wire, so we have to make 5 or 6 centimeter diameter, you can say. Welding is generally quicker than soldering, but both are equally acceptable. If we make welding, so welding is quicker generally we can make it in a quick way we can make it, but soldering also acceptable equally. We can say this thing. Though voltage or EMF produced depends on these things. Now, if voltage is generated, we already know. But my dear, see here, we having twisted electric gas welding. For resistance welding, large wires we have. For farming cable, we have metal wires for electric arc welding. So arc welding is there. Gas welding twisted is there. We have been making the resistance welding is there. So If EMF is induced, so EMF basically depends on these four things. First, types of material used, which type of material you are using, which type of basically metal you are using, dissimilar metals you are using, but which type of. Okay. Secondly, temperature difference between the measuring junctions. Temperature difference between the measuring junctions and the reference junction. Reference junction is there and the measuring junction. We can say here's this thing E and the reference we have. So A and B two metals are there. We are applying temperature. Due to this, we are getting what? Induced EMF voltages. So I hope you understand thermocouple effect. Then law of intermediate metal. Law of what, my dear student? The intermediate metals. Now, insertion of an intermediate metal into a thermocouple circuit. If we are having already thermocouple circuit in it, now if we want to intermediate the matter, so there will be some law, there will be some planning for it, there will be some protocols for it. So laws work for it. How can we intermediate the material? Okay, so insertion of an intermediate metal into the thermocouple circuit will not affect the EMF voltage output so long as the two junctions are at the same temperature and the metal is homogeneous. Okay. Now, if I want to intermediate some matter in the thermocouple. So if I am inducing something, if I am indulging something, if I am enacting the something, adding something, so if I am adding or altering something, so there will be some change. But as per the law of intermediate metals in thermocouple, what it says basically will not affect the EMF voltage. Means the EMF voltage or the electromotive force voltage we are getting at the output at the two junctions are same temperature and metal is homogeneous. Now, which metal I am using, that is the homogeneous. If it is non-homogeneous, we can't intermediate. And if we are intermediate it, we are not getting the voltage. So, my dear student, you have to think for it. What we have to think? Homogeneous metal we have to use, and that temperature does not change of these two thermocouples. See here, C is there, isothermal block we have. Now we are induced basically intermediating with this wire. Here we having the output. Now C, A, B, C, C we are adding. So B. So we are applying the temperature T3 for this T3, T2 for the B, and T1 is there. So temperature difference is there. Due to this, we are getting what? The voltage V1. So just see this diagram. I hope you better understand with the help of this diagram. See this diagram. We having this the temperature one T3 applying here, BC and BC, that is the B. We are adding the C. We have the B adding the C. That is intermediate. We have T3, T2, and V1. Due to the difference of this temperature, what we are getting? We are getting the voltage as per the thermocouple effect, as per the Seebeck effect, as per the Thomson and Peltier effect. We can see. Okay. Now moving forward. Now these are the things. Again, the law of intermediate temperatures. There will be some law, the law of intermediate temperatures. Now we have to follow these laws. We have to work for these law, my dear student. Now, if a thermocouple circuit develops net EMF, that is EMF 1 to 2, 1 minus 2 we can say, the difference between 1 and 2. For measuring junction temperatures T1 and T2, in the first case, T1 and T2, see here, okay? And a net EMF that is 2 to 3, means difference of 2 and 3, this thing. For temperatures T2 and T3. Now see, in the first case, thermocouple circuit, we having the net EMF that is 1 to 2, means one difference of 1 and 2. For measuring junction temperatures, maybe T1 and T2, and a net EMF that is 2 to 3, means difference of 2 and 3. For temperatures second and 3, second and third, that is T2 and T3. Now the first case is T1 and T2, second case is T2 and T3. Now, then it develop a net voltage of EMF 1 to 3. Then we can say develop the voltage of 1 to 3. Why third temperature we are needing? Because we are in the need. Why? because we are intermediate something, my dear student. We are indulging something in it. We are basically adding something with A and B. We are basically joining something. So that is why we are using this intermediate law here. So we can say the net voltage or EMF, that is 123, is EMF 123 plus EMF 223. Okay, when the junctions are at temperature T1 and T3. Now EMF will be what? Addition of the two EMFs. First, 1 to 3, 1 to 2 at the temperature T1 and T2. Second, 2 to 3 at the temperature T2 and T3. Okay, and EMF 1 to 3 means 1 and 3, the resultant of these two, means if I am indulging, inducing, or if I'm adding, if I'm enacting the basically adding or enactment the alter the one thing, that is C, I'm inducing in it. So if I'm do this, so three things are take place. T2 T1, though EMF 1 to 2, T2 T3 EMF 2 to 3, then T3 T1 we have EMF what? 1 to 3. Though EMF 1 to 3 is basically the sum of these two EMFs we are getting. So that is the law of intermediate temperatures. So in the end, if I want to get the EMF 1 2 3, we are getting the addition of these two EMF, which is generated by these two diagrams or these two figures as written here, as shown in the diagrams. So just go through it, try to understand what I want to say you basically. So this is the law of intermediate metals. We can induce or we can indulge the intermediate metal with the thermocouple, but the one thing is there. First thing, the temperature remains same. Temperature will be remain same. And second is metal should be homogeneous. If metal is not homogeneous, then you can't do. And permit solder and belt influence means what I want to say, if I am joining the C with the B, so soldering and welding we can do here. Soldering and welding we can do here, my dear student. So we can do very easily. And due to this, if I want to calculate the value, though we having this thing 1 to 2, 2 to 3, then 1 to 3 is the addition of these two, 1 to 2 plus EMF 2 to 3. So I hope you understand about the intermediate temperatures. So what is thermocouple? First, what is Hall effect? I already told you what is Hall effect. Hall effect is basically whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, Lorentz force takes place. These are perpendicular to each other, current, and due to this, what happens? Charge moves and voltage generated. That is Hall voltage, and we can use this for the magnetic field measurement. Spacecraft, automobile, fuel reader, we can use magnetic position sensing. Okay, these are the applications. Then we having the thermocouple. Thermocouple is what? Basically based on the Seebeck effect. When we connect the two dissimilar metals, coupling of that, and we apply temperature on it, that is thermal. So thermocouple, it basically gives you what? It gives you the output voltage V. So temperature converting into the voltage, a transducer again. So that is why we are studying this thermocouple, temperature voltage in the transducer. Okay, if I want to introduce or join two dissimilar metals with the another dissimilar metal, means intermediating it, we can do it, but they are homogeneous and temperature remains same, earlier told you. Okay, and the Seebeck effect, 200 years ago, that is in 1821, Seebeck basically gave an effect. This is the combination of two effects, Thomson and Peltier. Thomson tell you the same thing, but Peltier tells you the different thing, that is what? Temperature along with the wire. Temperature gradient is there, along with the wire basically induce a voltage or EMF in it, in a circuit, when they are connected in a circuit. So I hope you understand, my dear student, is the EMF. Okay, now moving forward, advantages. It can measure a very large temperature range of 200 to 1500 Celsius. My dear student, very large range we can use. It is very responsive to rapidly changing temperatures due to its low thermal capacity. It is very responsive to rapidly changing. If I'm changing the temperature, so it gives you the very responsive, or it is responsible. It gives you the very good response rapidly changes. Due to what? Due to its low thermal capacity. Now the low thermal capacity is due to its low mass. Low mass is there. Ruggedness, simple, easy, cheaper. Metals are good conductor of electricity because we are using metals, and as we all know, the metals are good conductor of electricity, so they give you the good thing. They give you the good output. Now, as the output is an electrical impulse, it can be connected. What is it? As the output is an electrical impulse, it can be connected to a suitable electrical equipment. Now it is giving you the electrical impulse in the output. With the similar matters, we are applying temperature gradient. Due to this, voltage occurs due to the Seebeck effect. So we can give that electrical output directly to the electrical equipment for checking rapid or sudden temperature change. For checking rapid or sudden temperature changes. So I hope having these so many advantages, wide range of temperature, very responsive, low mass due to low mass, low thermal capacity, output we can do for the rapid change. So I hope you understand about the thermocouple and Hall effect. Okay. Now these are the some multiple choice question for you. A joint of junction of joint two dissimilar metals called, okay, two similar metals joint or junction. As I earlier told you, thermocouple we were studying. A thermocouple of two different metal has two junctions. First junction is on low temperature, second junction on high temperature. Temperature difference will be there, so it is two. The first junction of thermocouple is called, both are there. Produced in thermocouple due to difference of junction temperature, EMF we have already. An effective galvanometer is used to measure EMF in thermocouple. Yes, true. We can measure it. What characteristic have found in the thermocouple materials? I already told you. The cold junction of thermocouple is also called reference junction. True. A Hall voltage is zero when the semiconductor is, so extrinsic is there. Hall effect can be used to measure magnetic field intensity. My dear student, I already told you this thing. So, in a specimen, the Hall voltage is proportional to current which is flowing to that due to that Lorentz law. So, current to the specimen. So, these are the some multiple choice questions related to your lecture. Now, these are some reference books. We basically you can also refer, you can also read. These are available in our library, and in this books I took some material basically to teach you, to basically tell you, and you can also take also read these books. These are available. This is a very good book of E.K. Sani. This also comes in electrical measurement. Rajesh Prasad Khanna publisher also good book. A.S. Morris is very good book. You can also read it. So these are some books. Now this is all about from myself. I hope you understand. I hope you understand about the thermocouple and Hall effect and the basic of transducer. So I hope in my view that you understand a lot to this.